Press the bell icon on YouTube and don't miss another update.
Namaskar. Welcome to another episode of Editorial. There's a general narrative floating that democracy slows down the process of reforms. Now, this is not something new. This is not something that happened a couple of days back. This has been a discussion, this has been a debate that has been going on for a long time. A lot of people has said that, you should have a dictator because a country which is ruled by a dictator grows faster. And democracy, there are multiple views, so reforms are very slow. This has been an argument that has been going on for a long time. Now, let's deep dive into this argument and let us try and understand whether does democracy really slow reforms? Let's get right into the show. Now, to explain what I just said, I want to take you through two marketing concepts and one social behavioral concept. Three concepts I will take you through. Then I will try and connect all these three concepts to my topic. The first concept that I want to talk to you about is about research. Every big brand in this world, every big company in this world, especially marketing companies, does research before they launch a brand in the market. This research basically is to find out what the consumer thinks about the particular brand that they are going to launch in the market, which in marketing terms is called consumer insight. A research tries and finds out what consumer insight is for that particular brand, for that particular product, and then launches it accordingly. The product at times is tweaked based on the consumer insight. Changes are made in the product based on the consumer insight. So this is how any marketing company, successful marketing company in the world launches a product. No marketing company says that, boss, this is the way, it's my company, I am so big, so I am launching this product and here you have the product and the consumer has to buy it. No company, no matter how big they are, no matter how popular they are, no matter where they stand in the number one, number two category, they never make such mistakes. They always try to understand what the consumer wants and they give what the consumer wants. That is my point number one. Now let's go to another marketing stroke management concept that is widely used in the world. The second marketing stroke management concept that is used widely in the world is a concept called MBO, management by objective. Now, what is management by objective? Management by objective is when you take your market or your state or your country and ensure that the last common denominator of that country works towards an objective that that country has defined. And they say that if this is achieved, the chances of achieving that objective faster and efficiently is far higher than if there are gaps, there are loopholes. So management by objective is a process in which you go out to your last common denominator and explain to him, her, as to what your objective is and why do you have that objective in mind. It is the efficiency of the management, the administrator, to go and tell the last common denominator, address his doubts and then convince him that this is the objective you want to achieve. And that is what you call as management by objective. Now let's come to the third factor. And the third factor is infantilization syndrome, the bitter pill that has to be given to the people for their good. You see, nobody can say that all policies that the government takes should be populist policies. In fact, it should not. A lot of policies that the government executes, the government proposes, could cause a lot of discomfort for a lot of people. And it is possible. And it is not necessary that therefore those policies are wrong. But the problem is when a government does not attempt stage 1, that is research, stage 2, that is management by objective, but constantly sticks to stage 3, that is infantilization syndrome, where they say any policy that we are going to launch, we are going to treat it like a bitter pill, like it or not, I am going to shove it down your throat. When the government starts thinking like that, that is when democracy, the arrow from democracy moves to fascism. That's when their arrow moves. That's when you have people saying that we are too democratic. That is when, for people who are sitting in the administrative chair, they find democracy very uncomfortable. Because finally, the easiest thing for an administrator is to go and use the infantilization syndrome and say, we know what is best for you, this is it, take it, leave it, or leave the country, or you're enemy of the country. Easy to say. It is very difficult to go and ask them what they want. And more difficult it is for you to convince them that this is the best for you. So to conclude, the next time some political leader comes to you or some administrative officer comes to you and says that democracy है ना, democracy के कारण, it is because of democracy that reforms are getting slow in India. Democracy is the biggest hurdle for reforms. When you hear such statement, ask the person. Ask the person a very simple question. You see, the biggest reformist of this country was possibly Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi changed this country from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. And the way he changed this country from Kashmir to Kanyakumari is the first thing he did when he landed in this country is he went and heard out what people has to say. He traveled from Kashmir to Kanyakumari in a second class train to understand what people has to tell him, which is called as research. Then same Mahatma Gandhi traveled again from Kashmir to Kanyakumari to show the people, to give a direction to the people as to where India should be headed, which is called as management by objective. The same thing happened to Mahatma Jyotiba Phule. When he spoke about women's education, he was literally thrown out. He was literally outcasted. But he persisted. He convinced people that that's the right direction to go, MBO. And then he achieved his objective. Rajaram Mohan Roy, he was almost threatened with his life. But again, he got the society to see his point of view, MBO. And that's why we have that reform. Every social reform, why social? Every reform in this world could only be possible when the people were convinced. Now, it's a different issue that convincing is difficult. Convincing requires a lot of effort. And most importantly, convincing requires to be selfless. When there is nothing you have to earn, then convincing another person is very easy because the other person sees the point that there is nothing you are earning. So if you are talking to them, they understand it is because of his benefit and not yours because you are benefiting nothing. So that part is difficult. Think about what I am saying. So the point I am trying to make is for an efficient administrator and an efficient politician, democracy is a tool to achieve social reforms. And for others, it could be a bane. Till I see you next time. Namaskar.